It's Colin here from Thrive Themes, back with another video. And today we have a very special treat. So this is not going to be your standard Thrive Themes tutorial video that you normally see me on the channel making, but today we have an interview. And not just any interview, we have a very special interview with a Thrive Themes member, Mica. And her website is MindofMica.com. Now, this is an awesome conversation that her and I had, and I want to just give you the major benefits that you're going to gain by actually taking the time to watch and take notes on this interview. The first benefit that you're going to take away is that there is no such thing as an excuse. Mica has an awesome story of how she got started, and it basically leaves no one with excuses of why you can't start a business. The second major benefit that you're going to take away from this interview is the concept of launching before you're ready. Her story of launching her first products are incredible, and you definitely don't want to miss it. The third major benefit that you're going to take away from this interview is how to simplify things. Just take out all the extra noise, all the stuff that's slowing you down, and really just focus on getting results. So with all that being said, let's dive right into the interview with Mica. Hey Mica, good to have you on the call here today. How are you doing?
Hey Colin, thanks for having me. I'm doing really great. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. And
Cool.
I'm super excited to have you here for this interview. And when I first saw your website, MindofMica.com, I immediately loved it. It is the definition of a Thrive Themes member and Thrive Themes customer,
Thank you.
someone who is a true solopreneur and someone who really just want tools that get results and they don't have to mess with them and pull their hair out. So
Yeah.
right away, I want to, really give the viewers or the listeners or people watching this on our blog to really get a little bit of context of how you got here. So before I get into the questions I really want to ask you, I want you to just take a little bit of time and give us your story. Like, how did you get from, where you were before and what you were doing and how you got to where you have your site now, MindofMica.com?
Okay, great. So I actually consider myself like an accidental entrepreneur because MindofMica.com, before it is what it is now, it used to be like just this hobby blog of like this senior at university about things like that I was passionate about and still talk about on my blog right now, which is about personal development, goal setting, productivity and stuff. But over time, I realized that I wanted to like try and actually make this into like some kind of thing, the business wasn't really the word, but I wanted it to turn into something else. So I learned about things like email marketing. I learned about things like lead generation. I learned things like lead nurturing. So I started going into like email list building. Like at the time I was using like MailChimp. It was just, it had that free plan. And obviously like somebody like me who obviously like didn't think like I had to pay for like, something like for some other provider, like I was obviously going to use MailChimp, right? So I started learning about this. I started experimenting with different like lead generation, lead magnets and stuff. And I was realizing that people were signing up for like this specific thing. And it just kind of occurred to me, just like this really vague, random idea one day to release a digital product, which in my head was a digital planner about goal setting and productivity. Because I noticed, at least what I was seeing, a problem for me was I never really used planners that I bought, because they were kind of just about like your agenda, your deadlines, stuff like that, tracking like your schedule. But what I really wanted was like, what if I created a planner that tracks your goals, like stuff that you wanted to do so that you can actually like review how a quarter went, review how your month went, and not like in some generic thing, like it just says monthly review and that's it. Like I actually wanted to create guide questions and things like that people could ask themselves. And so, one thing led to another. I did like a seed launch for that. Like, I just like took like my very tiny email list at the time. It was around 500 to 1,000 people, I believe. I just launched it to them. I'm just like, hey, I'm offering this thing. I'm going to launch it soon. If you want to get in on it, I'm giving it at a really, really steep discount if you want. And surprisingly, that did so well. And I guess, one thing leads to another and you kind of get hooked on like, online business stuff. So that's when I started taking things really seriously. And so I
Quick
started,
question. When out of those 500 or so people on your list, how many ended up buying your original planner?
it was around like in that seed launch alone, it was around like 25 people, I think, which for
Yeah.
me was mind blowing because I was like, if 2 people buy this, I'm good. Or like
Yeah,
if
like,
one
that's
person
cool.
buys this,
Yeah.
I'm good. Yeah. And like I'm like the senior in college. So I'm like, whatever, it's a blog and stuff. So that, you kind of get bit by the bug and one thing led to another. I started to like look at different ways I could start to grow that business. So obviously, like straight out of college, I didn't like pursue the whole blogging to business route. I was doing it on the side. I did the what I call the responsible thing and took a job.
You got a job.
Yeah, I got a job and started this thing as a side hustle and stuff. And then at some point, somebody, these clients that they became my clients, saw that I was doing a lot of like content marketing on like with my blog. Like technically what I was doing on my blog was content marketing. So like I was getting hired for stuff like that as a side hustle, and like the typical story, like, oh yeah, that led me to quit my job and stuff. And then when I shared that story to like my email list subscribers, I was like, hey, that this is pretty cool. This is a life update. And I quit my job and I'm now doing full-time freelancing gigs for content marketing, content consulting and stuff like that. And people were asking me, how do you do that? How did you do that? Because like these people were probably like, they have had years in the corporate world. They have been working their 9-to-5s and they probably had never gotten to that point, which is why they were asking. And so I was like, and obviously like so new to this, I didn't know that at the time I could have turned it into like this coaching thing. So like in the beginning, what I was doing, I was turning it into like this mentorship thing. Like people could just book a call with me and then we just talk about like the general direction that they could take to help them get to that point, like help them. How do you package yourself? How do you market yourself? How do you promote yourself? Which were things that they were asking me about, which I guess I was unconsciously doing because, as you want to grow your blog, you want to grow your business, those were things that you were doing. I wasn't like super aware that I was actually doing them, but until people were asking me, how are you doing this? How are you getting email subscribers? How are you selling products? How are you doing this thing on your site or whatever? So like, then I had this light bulb moment and I realized, hey, I think I was also seeing coaches on the internet doing this thing that I was essentially doing for free at the time. So I was like, I can turn this into something. So I turned like this mentorship thing. I just I scrapped that and I told myself, I'm going to come up with a program which kind of like will help people, hit their goals, whatever it is, like the most productive way. Because I was, I know my audience, I know that they were having trouble with, focusing on something. They were feeling overwhelmed with things, like having too many goals. They were very creative and things like that. So I turned whatever expertise I might have had in that time. And of course, like that came with a lot of like imposter syndrome and stuff like that. I mean, I was, how old was I? 22,
like,
20.
You're like, well, who's going to listen to me about setting goals? Like
exactly,
I've barely accomplished anything.
I'm like, I know, exactly. But like, I was realizing the fact that people are asking questions, I was like, I don't have to like maybe reach like 1,000 people right away. I don't have to like sign 1,000 clients, but like the people who were asking me, I was like, maybe I can like pitch something to them or something. If like this thing that I came up with, this program that I came up with was like something that they think that they needed, then like that was enough for me. That was also the same mindset that I had like in my seed launch for my original planner. Like that was the thing that I did. Like if people actually see the need for this, they will pay for it. And then that's what I did. So that's actually what I did. I will admit I did not make like clients like right away, like the moment I launched it. It did take some time, like a lot of more nurturing, a lot more, convincing people that, hey, I know what I'm talking about. Like this program could actually work. But, eventually I got my first client. I got my first couple clients actually. And it's just been pretty much from there. Then since then, I just do like occasional launches for like new things. Because like I'm pretty new. I still consider myself like a new entrepreneur, like entrepreneur by accidental entrepreneur. But so what I do is like I experiment on different launches, different programs, maybe like something like a smaller, more affordable thing that I'm doing one-on-one, but you can do it on your own, kind of like a course, something like that. So those are things that I have been currently doing. So yeah, that's my story, I guess.
Yeah, I want to interject a couple things to kind of maybe act as a teaching point. Is what you did is you were writing about what you were maybe passionate about or interested in. So it didn't have to be this like elaborate plan. You started with step one about you were interested in productivity and goal setting, and you were writing about it, and that was it. So
that was
you had a vision that you want to keep creating content. You want to serve some audience in some way. That was about the extent of your original vision. And what I want people to take away from this section is you let your audience organically tell you what they wanted. So you created content. They asked you, hey, how did you do this? You're like, content marketing. I guess I have skills in content marketing. And
Yeah.
that wasn't what you set out to do. But what ended up happening is that you let your audience tell you what their problems were, what their pain
Yeah.
points were, and then you were able to create products to serve them. So that was in consulting, coaching, the digital
Right.
products, and that is how you let your business get to where it is today. You didn't try to go against the grain. You're like, no, I only want to do X. You're like, well, I don't want to like start talking about dog training. Like you didn't want to go that crazy, but
Yeah.
you weren't rigidly attached to like, okay, I only want to talk about productivity for women under the age of 30. It's like, that's a little too broad. You may
Yeah.
get there, but you let your audience and who's actually reading your blog and interacting with your emails and content kind of help guide the direction. So that's an awesome thing that people can take away is like, have a vision, have a grand plan, but be okay with throwing it out the window if something else works. Like if something else gets traction, take it.
Yeah, because like a lot of things just can fly by. Like I always tell people, like opportunity isn't, opportunity is kind of like a guy who walks past your window like one random day, and you kind of have to like chase it down. Like it doesn't kind of just land on your lap, which is what some people like present, but it's more like a guy passing by your window, and you have to get off. You have to get off your couch. You have to run out the door, and you have to say, "Hey, opportunity. My name is Mica." So yeah,
Exactly.
that's
Good analogy. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's definitely an awesome way to kind of go over your story. So what I want to ask next is how long has the period been? So how long has it been since you started writing on your blog and to current day?
I started my blog it was in March 2018. So it has been a little over 2 years now. Yeah.
And how long did it take to get your first paying customer or client?
For the planner, I launched it after 3 months. I know it seems a little soon, but I did get my first 500 to 1,000, something between that number, customers in those 3 months. And again, this might be possible for some people. Like some people will definitely hit maybe 1,000 subscribers in like their first week or something, but or some people might not even reach that in their first 3 months like I did. But I was aiming for like that number. I was like, I will not launch anything until I have like 500 people at least, or around 1,000, because I wanted to make sure that, it wasn't just like, I wasn't basing like these customer needs on like a very small list, which, might have comprised of like maybe friends who didn't tell me that they subscribed to my list, things like that. Like I had to like, yeah, exactly. I had to like give like a little margin to like just account for like people who might have known me and were like, subscribing for support or things like that. Yeah. So that was something that I really told myself, I'm not going to launch anything until I hit 500 to 1,000 subscribers. And it just so happened, it happened in my first quarter of blogging. So yeah, that's how the timing fit.
That's good. Yeah. Cause it just goes to show you don't have to wait years to start building a real customer and client base. You can start, and you probably could have even done it earlier than 3 months if we're being totally honest.
Probably.
But 3 months was like, some people may think, wow, that's a long time to work and make money. And others are like, that's it? It only took 3 months? It's like, exactly.
Yeah,
now,
it
you didn't go from zero to like, multiple thousands a month right in those 3 months. However, the hardest part is the first dollar. $1,000 through 10,000 is way easier than $0 to $1, because that's that you cross the chasm. You go from not making money online to making money on the internet. Step one. And I think that's what people sometimes are either afraid or they're not sure what to sell, how to charge. There's all these questions. You're like, screw it. I'm just going to charge what I feel is right, what I think it's worth. And you got 20 something sales like over the course of that time. And you were expecting, if I get 2, it's worth it. And that's awesome to hear.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. And I actually remember the morning that I sent out the email, the first sales email for that that seed launch. I think I like kind of like when I sent the email, I pressed send, and then I kind of closed my laptop and just like threw it away because I was like, oh my God, I did the thing. I don't know what's going to happen. And then I remember checking like maybe a couple hours later, and then I saw my first 2 sales, and I was like, oh my God, you guys, I hit my target. And then after that, the sales kept coming in. So I was like, I think I did something right. At least I did something right. Yeah.
That's very cool. Well, yeah, thank you very much for sharing that story. That's definitely helpful for someone who's either been at it for a long time, or they're kind of like waiting, like what's the sweet spot to monetize? Yesterday is the sweet time. Like that's the right time, because even if it's small, it's still important. Whether, everyone who's listening and watching this, it's really important to, I like to look at least with online blogs or maybe YouTube channels or these different kind of content creation avenues is like, let the money kind of guide you in the beginning. And it's not about being
Yeah.
money hungry. It's about you have to find out what people are willing to pay for so you can keep growing the business. You need money to go
Yes.
to make more content and spend more time on it. So it's, getting that initial traction is so key. And I love to hear how you got there and what the journey was.
Yeah.
So Micah, for the next question, what I want to ask you is, what was your experience like with using other software tools, if you have any experience using other tools, with whether it's WordPress or other site builders or anything like that?
Okay. Well, I am on WordPress. I still currently am on WordPress. And my experience with that was a lot of WordPress sites don't come out the way you think they will, like when you first start. Like if you get like a theme or whatever, I actually, with my WordPress, my original blog, I bought like this theme from like this, this random place, that whatever, but I found that it was so uncustomizable. Like I could not make my site look the way I wanted. It just looked like everyone else who was using this exact theme. And for a while that worked. I mean, like I was just this, like before I started like, the business, it was just like a blog. So that worked. But like over time, building a sales page, building or more lead generation pages, I couldn't really do that to the like the way that I really wanted. So I did explore like MailChimp to build in landing page builder, because I told myself I might as well like see whatever it is that I'm already using. So I was already using MailChimp to hold my list, to send stuff to my list. So I said, okay, I'm gonna like build the sales page on MailChimp's landing page builder, and that's what I did. But I found it quite limited. Like it was very basic. I didn't also like I'm not a designer, but I wasn't happy with like the spacing. I wasn't happy with like the margins and things like that. Like I was just like, I wish I had more control over how it looked, because like I'm a pretty particular person. Like but again, I'm not a designer, but I'm
Well, you
particular about
understand
like,
good taste, though. You can tell the
yeah,
difference between something that looks
yeah,
bad and something that looks good. So you
yeah.
do have some sense of design, just you may not know all the technical nuances of being a designer.
Exactly. I just knew like, okay, this is like bare minimum, this sales page, this lead generation page, just whatever page it was I was making, like that would be it. And that kind of like, like when you start craving for more, that's when you start looking for other things. And I can't remember exactly how I came across Thrive Architect. I feel like I was like just randomly in this Facebook group full of other, entrepreneurs, as we people gather into like these Facebook groups, right? And then I found someone post a tutorial of Thrive Architect. Like, so I didn't know that landing page builders were a thing. I thought to create landing pages like that, you needed to have like this insane coding experience and knowledge and stuff. That's really what I thought. So when I saw this lady over here, I can't remember who she is. I wish I could like say who it was, saying like, hey, this is how I build my landing pages and stuff. And she just gave like this tutorial for like Thrive Architect. So I remember that's when I started looking at Thrive Architect and stuff like that. And then, one thing led to another. I saw all these different products in the Thrive membership. And I was obviously not like a business person. I was not like a solopreneur yet. Like I wasn't making like enough money to, to justify the membership just yet. So what I did, it's kind of funny, but it's a very Mica thing to do, where I made a wish list of all the Thrive products that I wanted to get, because like, I saw Architect and I saw all these things like, oh, Thrive Leads or Thrive Ovation or Ultimatum or something. So I made like a wish list, and then I stopped for a minute and I realized I wrote down almost everything in the Thrive suite. And I was just like planning initially to just get licenses for each. Then I was like, I might as well just get the membership. So that's kind of like, what happened. I just ended up springing for the membership, even though I couldn't really like justify it at the time, because it wasn't like I was making, that kind of money every month. But like, again, that's something that I did was, when the money that I made from my original planner launch, actually what I did was, I remember thinking, hey, this can go to like another year or 2 or 3 of web hosting. But I told myself, hey, this is just about enough, like with change, to get me that Thrive membership, that first year of the membership. So that's what I did.
Yeah, you made the investment. So here you decided
Yeah.
to, okay, you're looking at it like, well, you know, I'm making some sales, things are working a little bit, like you're kind of getting some traction, but you're like, okay, I want to, really build the blog I want, not this like
Yeah.
some like rigid theme. And then you
Yeah.
want to make sure you can have sales pages, and you could use other products in the membership like Thrive Leads to grow that list even more. And yeah, you took the plunge. So you're like, okay, I could look at this and like, this could pay for 2 years of hosting. Or you can like, well, if I have these tools, I can make more and I can
Exactly.
grow the audience and grow the customers and help more people. And that's the route you took. So it's awesome to
Right.
hear that. And when was this? When did you decide to become a Thrive member? And what was it really like? What kind of put you over the edge to like, I need to just get this? Do you remember the time or a moment that got you there?
Yeah, I remember very well. It was, so I launched my planner 3 months after I launched my blog. So that was March, April, May. I launched the planner around May, and I kind of closed like the pre-selling period like in June. And I remember the whole research looking for like different alternatives and stuff, happened for a few months because like, I mean, it was something I was just doing on the side. So I remember I got my Thrive membership in October of that same year. It didn't really take it didn't take like too short of a time, but it also didn't take too long. Like it didn't take me like a year to like, or like me trying anything else. So it was kind of just a few months after that. And I remember what really made me decide to like, just do it, just buy it. Don't like, just like after all the alternatives I was looking at, it's really random, but like, some things just kind of tip you, right? But I saw this YouTube video from Thrive Themes YouTube channel about recreating the Trello homepage. And I don't know why, but that just convinced me. I was like, I guess seeing that tutorial, I was like, yeah, this is what I need. I was like, this is exactly what I need. And I already knew like I wanted, if it came to a choice, it either I got some alternative to something like for landing page builders, but then I saw like I was really leaning towards like the entire membership because like it had everything that I could possibly need. And also I was kind of tired of waiting for a solution. Like if I did get like an alternative landing page builder, I would have to look for an alternative lead generation plugin for like making forms and stuff like that. So I didn't want to go through that. And me, I'm about productivity, and I was like, I've seen Thrive's doing on their own site. I've seen like the samples from the case studies, blog posts and stuff that they've done. So I'm like, I'm pretty sure I can figure it out as I go. So that exact moment was, yeah, seeing the Trello, recreating the Trello homepage.
You took your own advice. You're like, wait a second, I'm supposed to be talking about productivity and goal setting. I
Exactly.
need to just do this. What like
Exactly.
I'm being anti-productive right now by spending
Exactly.
all my time researching these tools, and then you're running the math. You're like, hold on a second. Just for 2 of these tools, it's already more than the membership. It's like, hold on a second. I think I need to just
Exactly. I
over
remember having to like
stop
do the
this.
math in my head, like, wait. Yeah, I'm
Exactly.
kind of overthinking it, which happens. I mean, especially like I consider these like big decisions, especially for a solopreneur at the time who was like making not a lot of money at the time from like a blog. So like obviously that's a big investment for somebody like me, especially in the stage of my business. So yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Very cool to hear. So the next question that I want to ask you is, how specifically has the Thrive Themes membership helped you grow your online business? So like, give me some real user examples of maybe how Thrive Architect or Leads or how all the products work together to specifically get you results.
All right. So the first thing that I do want to focus on is like how much time it has saved me. Like I'm all about like time management, productivity and stuff like that. And obviously having like a full suite like that was already a huge time saver in that I didn't have to look for alternatives for all of these things. So I already had a landing page builder. I already had the lead generation plugin. I had everything, basically everything else. And then later on, theme builder became a thing. So I was like, wow, that's even more perfect. It just made my membership even more worth it. I remember saying, I remember just like telling myself while I was building like, new landing pages or building like blog posts using Thrive Architect and not like the built-in WordPress. I think it's Gutenberg until now. I remember just building it. I was like, I'm saving so much time. I can just like save, and I love the feature that, you know, you can save like templates and stuff, or little things that you use like all the time. That's what I absolutely loved. And it was just a way for me to also make better blog posts, like for like reading. People have come up to me, mostly my friends, because I don't think this is a thing that people like, you know, like readers would randomly comment on, but like my friends would tell me, your blog is so well designed, like your posts are so easy to read, and like you have like these like post-it looking things on your page, or like you have like these boxes that you know, they have their own colors or whatever and stuff. And I was just like, and people were asking me, do you do a lot of coding? And I was like, zero. None.
I drag something in.
touched code. I haven't touched code since I got Thrive. And that's just, and as somebody who, you know, values productivity and like just, you know, being able to get like results like in the quickest, most easiest, like least painful way, that was like a huge thing. And like on the other hand, there was I also saw increased conversions to my email list. And we know as entrepreneurs, you know, everyone says this, the money is in your list. So I really wanted to look for ways to increase my conversion rates to get into my email list. Because what I was using before, Thrive Leads particularly, I was using MailChimp. And what I noticed with MailChimp was it was a little bit frustrating to use, because you had to like, to create multiple lead magnets, you'd have to like create multiple lists. So the same subscriber could like opt into all, maybe like 5 things on my website, and they would be counted 5 times. And for me, that was like, that was unfair. That didn't feel fair. Like, why did they have to be counted 5 times? So like, when what I did was I actually switched around the same time that I did get my Thrive membership and like was exploring all like Thrive Leads and stuff. I did switch to ConvertKit, which I did like better than MailChimp, in that I could link my forms, my ConvertKit forms, to Thrive Leads stuff. So that was really when I was able to experiment with different ways to create lead generation forms, buttons, 2-step opt-ins, and things like that. I particularly like using the 2-step opt-in, because like I don't like random people just filling out a form. I want them to like commit first. So that's something that was important to me to be able to do. But also I did see that ConvertKit's built-in form builders were very limited. Like you couldn't really design it. You could probably just change the colors. You could probably upload like an image or whatever, but you couldn't really design it in a way that like, you know, if somebody sees it, they're like, oh, this person uses ConvertKit, because everybody else who uses ConvertKit, their lead generation forms look like that. So yeah, so that's when around the same time, that's when I started to also play around with like Thrive Leads and stuff. And I actually liked what I liked about Thrive Leads was that it was really able to help me experiment with like different places to put my lead generation forms, like exit intent pop-ups, or like slide ins from the lower right corner or something, or even like the welcome mat. I'm not sure if that's the name, but like stuff like that. And I remember like there was this particular campaign that I did pretty recently, around like after I got like the entire membership. I played around with like Quiz Builder and with Thrive Leads, and so I created this quiz. It's still on my website. It's the Creative Biz Quiz. And what I did was, to promote the quiz, I used Thrive Leads. I did this welcome mat and this slide in at the time. And then for certain posts, I did have that like in post, you know, modal at like the end of like a paragraph or something. So that's what I did. And what happened was, in a quarter, like 3 months, like after launching that quiz and the Thrive Leads promotion tactics, of course, it accounted for like 60% of all my leads in that quarter. And that kind of blew my mind, because that meant that I was making more conversions. I was getting more people in my email list. Actually, Colin, like that period was when I got the most signups to my email list. That was very recent. So I'm right now, if you look at my blog right now as we record this, like you will not see like those exact things that I mentioned about like Thrive Leads leading to that quiz. But because I'm experimenting on different things, but obviously I'm not seeing those results again. So I'm probably gonna bring it back, because like if it ain't broke, yeah.
Don't fix it.
Yeah.
And that's, I want to bring up one thing. It's a good point you mentioned, is that, you know, you set up a quiz once. You built your Creative Biz Quiz. and you did it once. You set up one
I
awesome
did it
quiz.
once.
You didn't have to tweak things or have a bunch of third-party tools and embed quizzes. It matched your site perfectly. You're able to set up this quiz, drive people to this quiz, and you're able to grow your email list up. You said 60%, and so 60%
Yeah,
faster than you were before.
60%
And
faster. Exactly.
these are the things that really move the needle. That's what I like to call leverage, because you can take one thing, use it over and over and over again, and it can get you results time and time again. So love to hear that. And so that's a really specific example. So what other, we'll continue on this topic. What other products in the Thrive Teams membership do you use on a regular basis? So you've mentioned Thrive Leads, Thrive Quiz Builder, Thrive Architect, and what else you're using?
Hang on, I'm just like running a list of like Thrive products in my head. um, so another product that I use from Thrive, that on the back end, you actually won't see it unless you were a client of mine, is Thrive Apprentice. I use it for like with my clients, with my coaching clients, because what I like to do, I'm all about productivity, and I don't want to like conduct all my, lessons and stuff like on a one-on-one call, kind of like this. Like what I want is like, okay, so I send out maybe this module to my client for this program, and I'll be like, okay, so this is what we're going to cover in week 1. You can consume this at any time, just do it before our next call. So that's something that I've really liked. It has really helped me just kind of, not have to remember, oh, I have to send them the email of this lesson, and then I have to remember to send them this email like a few days later. Like just being able to send them like this one link to like everything that they need, and then just give them instructions for like, okay, for week 1, obviously we're just going to be doing module 1, and for week 2 we're going to be doing module 2, et cetera, et cetera. So that was something that's really helpful, and people have commented that they're like, my clients have actually asked me, what do you use to like host this learning management thing? And I was like, everything that you see on my thing is probably from Thrive, to be honest.
And a good thing with that I want to point out is so that Thrive Apprentice is an online course hosting platform that we have in the membership, and as well as a standalone product, but you're using it in a really creative way. So you're not selling an online course per se. You're using it as supplemental content to help your clients before you get on the phone with them. So you're helping them, instead of having to answer a bunch of kind of ridiculous questions and they're not really sure what this call with like your coaching calls are going to be like, they already know, like like we're going to cover this, this, and this, and it allows them to get better results and you to just not just look more professional, but just get them better results.
Exactly. And because I have clients who I've noticed are like kind of like they tend to be like introverted and stuff. So obviously like on the call sometimes, like, and this was before I came up with the idea to like use Thrive Apprentice for like programs or like lessons, pre-recorded lessons. Because I had clients who like were hesitant to tell me things on the call because maybe they weren't sure like it was relevant or something. And it only came up after. And I was like, I could have like addressed this before, or like this is something that they can think about on their own. And if it's really, when they realize that it's a real roadblock for them, that's what we handle on the next call. Like and for me, it's just really a more productive way, because like instead of talking about the strategies on the call, we make use of our time better, because on the call we're going to talk about, okay, what did you learn from the lessons, what did you implement from like the homework in those lessons and stuff like that, and then what's getting you stuck, what's working, what's not working. And it's really just more productive for them, because like they can just like level up their momentum as well, because like I don't want to waste anybody's time. I know how important it is. A lot of my clients, 90% of my clients are people who work full-time jobs and are trying and have like this creative side project or side hustle. So like obviously I know they could be spending like their time way better than getting on a call and like hearing a lecture from me. So like that was like one way to just level up their experience. And people have told me, like my clients have told me, like this is like this is so cool. Like really, that's the thing that they say, because they didn't expect that would happen. Like during the coaching program, I told them obviously, like when they signed on, like, don't worry, I'll take care of everything. I'll guide you through everything that you have to do. But they did not expect that there would be like this course, this master class thing going on. So like for them, that was just like, for them, it feels like added value. And somebody came up to me and said, so like, when people like come up to you for coaching, do they like pay for the coaching, or do they pay for the master classes? Because he knew like I was doing the master classes or like the courses on the back end. And I was like, people are always going to sign up for the courses, but they are just blown away. They're going to sign up for the coaching rather, but they're just blown away by like the course content at the back end. So
that's just something. It allows you to go above and beyond. That's really cool to hear. That's good. Awesome. So you're using, let's see, let's just kind of recap here. So people can know you're using Thrive Theme Builder to build your website.
Yes.
Thrive Architect to help make better looking blog posts, but also the sales pages and book a call pages with you so that you can actually have them, become a client, using Thrive Leads to grow your email list, Thrive Quiz Builder in conjunction with Thrive Leads, depending on the situation, to also help grow your email list. You're using Thrive comments on the blog, Thrive Apprentice to host your course. You were using Thrive Ultimatum for an offer that I've seen on your blog before. We could show that on the screen now. And that is, a really good example of using literally almost every single one of the tools. And you've also used Thrive Ovation, you told me, for some of your testimonials. So it's awesome to see, you really, instead of trying to find all these extra solutions, you have our tools that work great because they help you get results. You're not trying to have the prettiest, most epic looking, custom looking thing. You want things that drive conversions and help you get more clients, more customers, and ultimately just have a better business.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's something that I really appreciated with like just the Thrive membership in general. Like just like every time I found myself like thinking, oh, I want to try this, I immediately in my head, I was like, does Thrive have something for me to do that? And the answer was almost always yes. And if it did have it, it was just so easy to integrate like anything else like with it. Like payment processors. I know like Thrive doesn't have like a checkout or a cart plugin, but like, it was just so easy to like link like PayPal into this, or like, something like wishlist member and stuff like that. That was just so easy for me. And that was like, I don't know. I don't see myself like having to look at any like alternative unless like, unless like this big need comes up. But like so far, I haven't experienced that at all.
I want to jump in here for just 1 minute and go over a couple things that Mica said so far. The first thing that I want to talk about is her site structure. So she's using literally every single one of the Thrive Themes tools, from Thrive Theme Builder, Thrive Architect, Thrive Comments, and even Thrive Ultimatum. So she's getting very creative with all of our tools. So the main example that I want to point out is she's not just trying to be rigidly attached to needing to have these specific tools for specific reasons. For Thrive Apprentice, our online course hosting platform, instead of selling a traditional online course, she decided, how can I use Thrive Apprentice to host a mini course or a preparation course for her coaching clients? So she's able to have them go through this like kind of pre-course before she has the call with them, which saves Mica a ton of time of sending emails, follow up and all this stuff, but also gives a better client experience. So this is just one way for how she was able to use our tools and really build the different assets, the different things that she thinks will help her clients and customers. And the second thing that I want to talk about here is betting on yourself. So Mica wasn't making any money when she got her first Thrive Themes tool. So that was Thrive Architect and some of our other tools. And when she got the membership, she also still wasn't making enough money every month to justify the costs of the membership and her other plugins she was using. But she bet on herself. And by doing so, she kind of put herself in a position where she needed to launch before she was ready, which was the best thing that ever happened to her. She was able to launch her goal setting planner. She was able to also launch coaching services and all this stuff before she was ready. But it's because she bet on herself. She bet on her business that she could make it happen. And I want you to definitely have that be a takeaway for you. If you're kind of on the fence of maybe launching your product or writing your next blog post or even actually offering services, start before you're ready. Mica is a great example of how that if you take a gamble on yourself, things can work out. Now let's get back to the interview. Okay, Mica, so next I want to just, have you tell a little bit of a story and help, give the listeners and the viewers of this, a lot more valuable information here. So I would like you to tell a specific obstacle. So give us a real obstacle that happened in your business that you had to overcome. So think of the most painful, the one that caused you the most stress or kept you awake at night that you had to overcome and how you did it.
For me, it was really, really getting my landing pages to look like a landing page and not like a random, not to look like a blog post on my site. Because the thing about, if anyone has used WordPress and no landing page builder, or like has no knowledge to create custom landing pages from like code, they would know that if you publish a page using just the WordPress Gutenberg builder and stuff, it will just look like a blog post on your site. Like that was the most frustrating thing. Like, sure, you can add an image. sure, you can add, you know, columns and stuff. You could do that, but you could do that with like your regular blog posts. But like,
Right.
I couldn't change anything. I couldn't like give something like a color scheme or like that was different, or I couldn't do anything to to just basically like show off my products, for example, or just make something look pretty and professional. Like, I'm not saying like you need like the most professional, like most, you know, like amazing looking landing page to make sales, but it kind of does help. Like, I don't obsess over like design and stuff, but like it was just so painful to me knowing that like I had like these sales pages that were built on like the WordPress page builder, and it just looked like a blog post on my site, and I was trying to sell stuff, and that really frustrated me. And that was really, again, what led me to like looking for like ways to actually like overcome that. And another thing was, I did briefly mention it, was like on MailChimp, I could not do multiple opt-ins. I could not experiment with different forms, with the way they would appear, how I would promote them. I just lacked the what's the word? I just lacked options to be able to experiment. And something that I'm a very curious person by nature, so I really like experimenting. Which, like, you mentioned, Colin, that you see like all these Thrive products on my stuff. That's just a result from me experimenting. I did not like buy the membership already knowing how to use all of the things in my business. I just knew that I could experiment and we'll see where it goes. And I mean, one thing led to another. And obviously a lot of the experiments did go well, because like here I am actually running a business. And yeah, so that was really like, Thrive basically just helped me overcome the biggest things that I was experiencing, like really in that stage of my business. And it has just taken that away. I don't even think about those things anymore, because I know I have the tools to help me overcome them.
That's awesome. So the next question I want to ask is going to be, I'm actually going to break it into two parts. Part number one is going to be this here. So if you could give any advice to someone who's just getting started in their online business, what would that be?
My advice for someone just getting started, like, you know, just starting, maybe from like, who has a similar experience as me, is really just tune into what people are liking. And that kind of sometimes starts with what you like. I always tell people, somebody is experiencing some pain that you experienced maybe a few months ago, a few years ago, and somebody can learn from that. Somebody might be willing to pay for that. I sure know that I've paid for stuff like productivity books. I've paid for stuff like goal setting workshops and stuff like that. Like, those are things that I have learned, I have synthesized into my own thing, and then created something on my own. Like, and just really just into that. Like, if you're really starting a business from scratch, you need to be able to solve a problem, and sometimes you can just solve a problem that you had because somebody else is pretty much going through it right now.
Well, I'm going to add to that. You brought up a perfect point. There's something I always tell myself, and it's something that's been proven true for years, is your biggest problems and your own personal biggest problems, biggest obstacles, just the things that just feel like were like the end of your world, are the biggest gifts you could ever get. Because those are the things that you can turn those into businesses. You can help. It doesn't even matter if it's a business. You can help people with them. But that is the seed of every super successful, not just online business, any business. And the best examples are always, usually, for the most part, online personal trainers, nutritionists, people that are helping people with their health, were overweight and unhealthy. Almost every time is they had a story maybe when they were younger, maybe they were older, and they had this challenge, or someone who had a autoimmune issue fixed it with this certain diet. So they had a huge problem and they fixed it. And the same is for pretty much every online business, Thrive included. You know, when Shane and Paul started this many years back, that was the pain point. And I think that's a really, really solid piece of advice that is way out of the technical weeds. And it's more about, what are the problems you're solving? And sometimes you just need to look at your own problems. What's bothering you? What are you struggling with? And how can you either A, learn how to overcome it, or B, use your experiences, or if you already have overcome the issue. So that's the best way to do it. People follow your journey as well as you, like, even if you don't have all the answers, they're along for the ride. And that's an awesome insight.
And people always like ask me like, but my idea is like related to this other person's idea. I'm afraid of like competition and stuff. But I always tell people, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only person out there who's created a goal setting planner or who coaches people about productivity and stuff. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only person who does that. But what happens is people resonated with my story, with like my, I guess, personality as well. they like what I say. They like how I explain things. And I was like, but some people won't. Some people will like, and that's the thing. We can't please everybody. Like your audience is your audience, you know? I'm pretty sure like some people have opted into like a freebie, probably hated it and just unsubscribed. That's completely normal. But there are people who like, you know, they'll get your freebie, whatever it is, and they're gonna fall in love with it, and then they're practically gonna be like your stalkers, and they're gonna look for you everywhere, and they're gonna read all your emails and stuff. And those are the people who are most likely going to buy. So just like focus really on like on like that specific thing. Like what is it like you can really offer? How do you really help solve people's problems? Because you're gonna find those people as long as you keep trying.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. That's the 1,000 true fans. That's that
Yes.
core group of people that support and love what you do because it's you, not necessarily because you're the best. But they just like, hey, I trust you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. So the next question I want to ask here to wrap this up for part 2 is following, kind of piggybacking on what we just talked about. What would be advice for someone who is afraid to monetize? So you did it within 3 months. Yet, you know, you didn't rip the cover off it and make tens of thousands of dollars. But like we talked about at the beginning, the hardest part is going from $0 to $1. 1,000 to 10,000 is exponentially easier than 0 to 1 online. So what advice would you give someone who has a blog, a YouTube channel, they've got like their kind of the building blocks of a good online business? What would you give them? What advice would you give them to get started on the monetization process?
Well, you kind of just have to actually start and pitch. I mean, over time, like as you find your niche, you find out what your audience, like you have to pay attention to like what's doing well on your blog, on your YouTube channel, whatever it is, whatever platform it is. Pay attention to the things that people are viewing most of, what are people commenting on. Like, you'd be surprised, like if you don't pay attention, you might like just be stuck in like this mindset where like, no, I think this one will do well, I think this thing will do well, this one won't. But like oftentimes what I found was that the things that I thought wouldn't perform as well were the things that really took off. Like I have this blog post which I wrote like just for fun, and this was really what got me like to my first 500 to 1,000 subscribers. Literally, it was a blog post called 13 free apps that helped me get my life together. I did that for fun. Like that was a fun blog that I wanted to write. And to this day, it still gets me like hundreds of views on my blog like daily. And I did not expect that to the thing. So that was also one of the things that like helped me like realize like, hey, people are into things that get them organized, that get them productive. And obviously I know like tools are just tools. It's really how you use them. So that's really what gave me an idea. Like, you know, people need to be clear on their goals. People need to be productive like in a day and stuff like that. So really just pay attention to what's already working. And if you don't know what that is yet, keep creating until you know what that is. And then if you're afraid to like make that pitch, something that I told myself that made me not afraid to like, you know, hit send on that first sales email and then like maybe throw my laptop away right after, was I told myself, if it doesn't sell, no one's gonna know and no one's gonna care. I can always try again. Like, it's not like the world was waiting on me. And it's like there weren't 10,000 eyes waiting for like me to fail. It's harder to forgive yourself for like getting 0 sales on like a first launch. Like, I mean, I wish I could say I know what that's like when it happened to me, but it didn't happen to me. But like, obviously, like in my head, I was prepared for that. If it ever came to that, like if I made 0 sales, I mean, it would hurt, but it wouldn't stop me from trying again, from trying a different thing. Like it's like
the reason it didn't happen though. I want to jump in for a second.
Right.
The reason it didn't happen is because you didn't try to make something that people didn't want. You didn't just make something like, I want to make this. You looked at so it wasn't necessarily you have to like outright ask a bunch of people, but you looked at comments, emails, the underserved markets. Like like this post took off. That's interesting. You're looking at the obvious signs instead of getting stuck in your head of like,
yes,
I want to make a course or I want to have a product about this. You're like, I can maybe have that later. But right now, what people seem to be interested in is this. So that's why, in my opinion, why you didn't have a strikeout or have a 0 sale day, because you didn't just try to sell something. You saw the problem, you provided a solution, and you're like, hey, here's a solution to your problem. Would you like to buy it? And dozens of people said, yes, I would like to buy that.
Right, exactly. That's actually like super helpful. And like what you said, Colin, is like the way I look at it, it's really just like kind of like the, let's go back to first grade. It's the scientific method. Just start with a hypothesis. And your hypothesis is basically your solution to this problem. Do you think?
Yep.
And basically the only thing you're gonna ask, will it work? Like, will people want it? Will people not want it? And if the answer is they don't want it, then you have to go back to square one and then think of a new solution to answer those problems. Like, or maybe if was it not the solution that was a problem, was it the way you presented your solution, was it the way you marketed it, things like that. Like, it's really just like put your curious cap on and just ask yourself, if things do go wrong, if you do get a zero, if you do get a strikeout, just ask yourself, okay, so what can I try differently next time? Because like that's really how business kind of goes. Like, I mean, it's really just like making your best educated guess and kind of just going for it, and then there it is, it's out there, and then you just have to like see how it goes from there.
Your audience doesn't remember your failures, only you do. Like
Exactly.
They don't know what succeeded or what didn't.
Exactly.
You're like, oh man, like everyone's gonna be judging me because it didn't. Well, how do they know how many sales? What did you do? Post it on the blog? Like, unless you do that, no one knows. So it's really easy to get in our heads about this stuff, but you decided to put that aside and really focus on not you, but who you're serving. And I think to kind of tie the bow on this, so to speak, kind of brings us back to problems and solutions. So you were focused on not your problems, their problems. Instead of like, okay,
yes,
your problem, I want to make money. Cool. That's great. Money's not going to fall out of the sky like that. You have to solve somebody else's problem with real solutions. And that's what you did. So that's awesome takeaway. And with that, I think we can conclude the interview. We ended on a really good note there. What I want to just do here before we wrap up is where would you like people watching this, listening to this, whatever they're doing, where would you like them to go to check you out?
My website would be the best place, since that is like where my blog goes. Also, if I do have YouTube videos, whatever, they do go on my blog anyway. So that would be the best.
Yes, it's MindofMica, M-I-C-A. Yep, MindofMica.com. You can learn everything about her there. You can check out her. I encourage everyone who's watching this, go check out her landing pages and see how she's doing it, kind of reverse engineer what she's doing. And you realize it's super simple. It's all simple. Using Thrive Theme Builder, Thrive Architect. She's not trying to reinvent the wheel. And she was able to build a site she really loves. So it's awesome to see.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time, Mica.
Thanks too, Colin. I really enjoyed this.
Yep, take care. And there you have it. So we just wrapped up our interview with Mica, and that was awesome. So a couple things I want to just recap from this interview and some big things that I want to point out. The first thing that I want to talk about is the concept of getting started before you're ready. So I mentioned that earlier, we mentioned that in the beginning, but I can't stress this one enough. The idea of really just putting yourself out there and launching your first service or launching your first product before you're ready is so critical. Mica had 500 people on her email list, only 500 people in the first few months of writing on her blog, and she decided, you know what? I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna launch a product and see what happens. Her expectations were only 2 sales. Yes, 2 sales out of 500 people, and she got over 20 sales. And that in and of itself was enough to justify and validate all the assumptions she had about will it work, what product should I sell. All the second guessing went out the window. It justified everything and allowed her to keep making progress. The second big takeaway that I want you to remember is not overcomplicating your tech stack. You could get tons of fancy plugins, tons of fancy SaaS products, and try to make everything work together perfectly. Well, the honest answer is it's never going to happen. And Mica knew that right out of the gate, and she just focused on using the tools that actually got results. So in her case, it was using the Thrive Themes membership. She literally uses every single one of the tools within the membership, and it's because they get results. She wanted blog posts that were readable, engaging, and had a conversion focus. That's exactly what we have built into Thrive Architect. She wanted sales pages that were plug and play, and she could easily get to look exactly how she wanted. It's exactly what Thrive Architect can do with your sales pages. Same for Thrive Leads, Thrive Ultimatum, and the list goes on. And the third big takeaway that I want you to remember from this interview is the concept of betting on yourself and also not listening to others. So this is a big one that Mica talked about. We talked about this in the interview and after the interview as well, is this idea of just bet on yourself. Like, believe that you can actually do it. Believe that you can launch the blog, launch the YouTube channel, launch the course, launch the consulting service, whatever it is, bet on you. Because trust me, if you can't believe in yourself, no one else is gonna believe in you either. And that's the honest truth. That's going to conclude this interview here. But before you go, I wanna make sure you do a couple of things. The first thing, if you are not a Thrive Themes member, make sure to go to thrivethemes.com/membership and learn all about the membership. So this is the second member that you've seen that's been able to build their entire business using the Thrive Themes toolkit. We had Sa'el in the first interview and now Mica in this interview here. So it's not a coincidence. We have hundreds and thousands of members that have gotten results like this, building their business, their blogs, their sales pages, growing their email list because they have the Thrive Themes membership. So go to thrivethemes.com/membership and get your copy today. And I would like you to leave a comment down below. So comment below this video. I want to hear your thoughts. Mica and myself are going to be in the comments answering questions, having a chat with everyone down there. So leave a comment of what you thought and if you have any questions from the interview. And thank you again for watching the video, and we'll see you in the next one.